Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Crochet Mama. I'm so glad you're here with me today. To those of you who are my subscribers, welcome back. To those of you who are just finding the channel for the first time, welcome to the family. I hope that you find something here that is useful. And I'm just so grateful that you're here with me today. So I finally landed on a project that I want to make. I'm going to give a huge plug to the crochet crowd. Michael Selleck is the person who designed this pattern, and I learned how to crochet on YouTube mainly by watching videos from the crochet crowd. Mikey just absolutely speaks my language. His videos are incredibly detailed. He explains things in a way that is, he's just a very patient teacher, and I owe my skills to what I learned from him. So I am going to put a link in the description for you to go to if you want to crochet along with me, if you are just interested in what other projects or videos he might have. But like I said, this is how I learned to crochet, was by watching videos on YouTube. This is an intermediate pattern, so you do have to have some knowledge about crocheting in general and have some of the basics down. But again, the benefit to, at least from my perspective, learning on YouTube is that I can find videos to help explain things. There have been rare occasions where I have sought out other videos on difficult stitches or things where I'm just not quite getting it. So there's a lot of resources on YouTube. The pattern calls for 7 contrast colors. So in an attempt to do this as sustainably as possible, I went into my yarn stash. There's a video earlier about my yarn stash. And so I went into my yarn stash and was able to mostly pull from what I have. And then instead of doing the colors that are dictated, I went ahead and wrote a list of my colors so that I can reference it as I'm doing it, and not have to search through. I used to take a picture, but that got to be kind of tedious because then you have to find the picture, and I'm sure there's a better way of organizing pictures. But anyway, so I wrote it down as a way for me, as an easy thing for me to reference. I love these hooks by Boy. I find that they're a little bit easier to hold. You'll see in my videos that they're just, I've tried a couple of different hooks, but these are the ones that I always kind of come back to. The good news about if you are getting started in crochet, you do not have to spend a lot of money. These on average, I want to say, are like $6 to $7 a hook. You can spend quite a bit of money on crochet hooks if that is something that you're interested in. I've always just found that these work, and why am I going to improve on something that I find perfectly serviceable? The other thing I wanted to mention before I get started crocheting is that I did attempt to film this video yesterday and had some difficulties. And one of the reasons I started this channel is that I am, I consider myself neurodivergent. I am hoping to get a diagnosis, a formal diagnosis, but I do believe that I have ADHD. And so part of the way that my brain works is if I try something and it doesn't work immediately and I'm not immediately good at it, then I should just give up. And I was going to bed last night and looking at the video and realizing that I had not done it correctly. And 2 things happened. Number 1, I got really frustrated with myself. And number 2, I wanted to get up at like 9 p.m. to work on my camera setup, and I had to stop myself, which is also hard because I'm very impulsive sometimes, from getting up out of bed at 9 p.m. To come in and try to fix it, because I had to be up today for work at 4:45. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first round. So these first couple pages just kind of explain the different stitches that are going to be used in the pattern. And then here on page 3, it talks about what the first round looks like, what those stitches look like. My intention going forward, today I'm going to do the first and second round. As I go on and the rounds get bigger, I'm going to probably end up just doing one round per video. Because what I'm going to do a combination of demonstrating how to get started and then ending the round. And then I probably will also do some time-lapse videos of me getting through the different rounds. So I will play with that. I'll see, I might change that, but for right now, we're going to go ahead and get started with my first color, which is Rose. It's Karen, 1 pound. I got this at Joann's. I absolutely love Joann's for yarn, but I'm going to get started. So I'll see you in the next part. All right, so I'm starting off by making a slip knot, not to be confused by the band. I know, I'm hilarious. And so I'm doing rounds 1 and 2 in this particular video. And then what Mikey suggests is, because there are 8 octagons that will be part of the border or the outer part of this blanket, he suggests doing all 8 octagons at the same time. So if I'm doing rounds 1 and 2 for one, just do rounds 1 and 2 8 times and be done with rounds 1 and 2 and not have to worry about and come back for each and every one. So I'm going to take his advice because generally he has not steered me wrong, and I think it will help me just in general with who I am, with being able to focus and stay on task. I had initially guesstimated that I would just be doing rounds 1 and 2, and yesterday when I was filming this and trying to get it all figured out, it became really clear to me that that was a very good estimation because by the time I was done, my youngest was melting down. There was chaos outside the office and I was losing the light, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a huge learning curve here. I'm trying really hard to figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work, and where I need to make tweaks. So I just wanted to share some funny stories. I work at a donut shop here in town where I live. I've been working there now for 3 years. That is my day job. It is a wonderful job. It affords me a lot of opportunities to be home with the kids. They're very flexible if I need to leave because something's going on. And it gives me a great chance to witness all sorts of humanity, good and bad. We had to shut down on the inside at the beginning of COVID. I started work there about 6 months before the lockdown here in our state, and I worked overnights too. So I had a 3-year-old and I'm trying to work overnight, and it was crazy. It was a lot to manage, but I got exposed, like I said, to a lot of humanity, and kind of the high points or low points, depending on your point of view, was that we had a woman that would come to the drive-through with a chicken, an actual live chicken that would sit on her lap, and she would feed it a donut hole. We had people that seemed to be coming from all kinds of different parties, some that seemed under the influence of things. Had lots of teenagers, and that was always a challenge because teenagers are not good at ordering in drive-thrus. They all want separate orders, and that tends to be a little bit exasperating. We had a lot of kind people. There were a lot of regular customers that I got a chance to know, and I like working, but as I'm learning about my brain, it's also hard for me because I have to try to mask a lot. I have to try to hide some of the ways that I think and behave because I know that they're not socially acceptable. And so the thing I like about my job is it does give me a sense of routine. I do need to get out of bed and take a shower and go adults. But part of the struggles at work is that I have to be on a lot. I have to make a lot of small talk. I have to, and all of that is just rough. It's hard on me. It takes an emotional toll. But like I said, this job has really afforded my family some financial stability, which we hadn't had in a while. And, I get to see dogs in the drive-thru, which is a lot of fun. And, So here I am completing round 2. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this segment because the next one is going to be the time lapse of me doing the 7 other octagons for the center of the blanket of the octagon. So hang on for a little bit. I love time lapse. I don't know why it's oddly soothing for me, but here you go. All right, so now I've got the 8 centers, so rounds 1 and 2, 8 times, and all of them, 7 and 8, there we go. And, I'm grateful for the plan that I made and that I stuck to my plan, because at this point in filming, I was exhausted and I was starving and there was chaos abounding in my house. My youngest was having a meltdown. So, there are things I love about crochet, and then there are challenges for me in crochet. The first is that it is a repetitive task, so I get to do the same thing over and over again, which is very soothing for me. There's no grading. No one's looking at my projects and grading them against what it's supposed to look like. But then I also can get hung up. All 8 of these look slightly different. There's this one with no space in the middle, and then there's this one. This one over here has some space in the middle. So that kind of thing can really drive me crazy and trigger me into wanting to redo them all. But I think this is a great chance for me to practice having that kind of the serenity prayer of letting go of the things I cannot change. And it's never going to be perfect, but that's okay. It's going to be something that I made, and I am eventually and ultimately going to be proud of the work that I've done. So I'm going to try to hang on to that and let go of all the ideas of needing to be perfect. I'm so glad you guys could join me today. Please like, comment, and subscribe so that I can continue to grow my channel and hopefully bring my love of crochet arts to the general population. Have a great day.